Chapter 3 Cummings' Cabin. Johnny and William make their way down the mountainside, climbing into a steep gorge. A small trickle of water flows through the gorge and a rocky old trail follows beside it. They stumble through the forest following the trail for several hours and find themselves at the top of a cliff in front of an old cabin near the edge of the Bridge River. Both prospectors are tired, hot, and hungry as they walk up to the cabin. Johnny wastes no time and knocks on the door. They wait for several seconds. No one answers. "Guess no one is home," William says, reaching for the doorknob and quickly turning it, but it's locked. Johnny pulls out his gun, using the handle, smashing a small window near the door, and reaches in and opens it. "No wonder the Mounties are after you, Chance. You have the skills of you're a thief." "Sometimes you have to do what you have to do," Johnny says as he opens the door and walks inside. The first thing the two prospectors see is an old cabin in the corner with two candles sitting on top of it. There's a gold pan filled with black sand and a set of scales on the table. "Wondering if they left behind any food," William says, rummaging through the cupboards where he finds a tin of old chum tobacco and a bottle of whiskey. "Ah, this should keep us warm through the night, Johnny." William smiles, placing the bottle of whiskey on the table in front of Johnny, who lights two candles on the table, giving the inside of the cabin and its contents much more light. "Open it, lad, and take a drink. I now want to tell you why the damn Mounties are after you. I just hope I'm not on the run with some kind of killer." "No, you have no fear of that, William. I never killed anyone who didn't have it coming to them. My only crime is that of being broke." "You're not the first man to be broke, Johnny. Most of us have done. You're not the first man to be broke, Johnny. Most of us don't have to rob banks to solve the problem. You could have tried to find a job." "I never had much luck with jobs." I could see that being a problem," William says. "Look, I was trying to get to a place called Cayush Creek when I ran out of money, about halfway up the Fraser. I tried panning but would never find a thing. I was starving. I robbed the bank because I needed to eat," Johnny explains angrily. "Look, I believe your story, Johnny. We all fall down sometimes, but now it's time to get back up on our feet." "Cayush Creek. I've heard of this place," William answers with keen interest as he sips whiskey in the candlelight. "Very rich and mined by the Chinese, I believe." "That's a strike against you right there, as the Chinese never miss much when they mine a place." "Well, my uncle gave me this map," Johnny says, taking out a secret treasure map from his back pocket and showing it to his new friend. William traces the mighty Cayush with his fingers on Johnny's map. Looking at the map, he can see an X marked deep inside the famous Cayush Creek Gorge. "Johnny, this gold is located in a very dangerous place. The Cayush Creek Gorge has killed many a prospector. It doesn't matter anyway because all the gold is gone. I managed to reach the location, but I couldn't find anything. I sluiced and panned in there for over a week," Johnny says with sheer frustration. "Well, perhaps now that Clarence is gone, perhaps you'd like to try your luck on a more of a sure thing. I could use the help of a young, hungry prospector like yourself. Clarence is dead, and I'm too old to recover this one on my own. Let me tell you a little secret about my reasons for being in the Bridge River, Chance. I didn't come here for the fun of it. You can make up your mind if you want in or not." William takes a clean glass and pours himself a shot of whiskey and lights a cigar before he begins his tale. "I have come to this country to collect on an old promise, Johnny. An old friend of mine named Arthur Knoll. He managed to strike it rich on Coldwater Creek, which is near here. We used to be prospectors together. Together we worked near the headwaters of a place called Eldorado Creek. We found an old mine shaft on the mountain that was made long before us white men were in these mountains. We concluded that the mine was worked probably by the Spanish. There were stories of all kinds of things deep down in those mountains. When we were working our diggings, we cached some of the gold. When we were working our diggings, we cached some of the gold just south of the upper adit on the south side of the mountain. Once we had more gold than we could carry, it was our plan to strike out for civilization with our millions. But it was not to be this way. We were attacked by Hunter Jack and forced off the mountain, leaving behind our cache of gold way up on the side of the mountain, near where there's an old adit carved in the mountainside. Just south of that. Hunter Jack and his men chased us back over the mountain and down towards Lillooet. Once we were out of the Bridge River Valley, they left us alone. But winter was setting in and it was beginning to snow. We both made a promise never to go back without each other. Well, that winter, Arthur stayed in Lillooet when the snows came, but I decided to return to Alaska where I had some money in the bank. Well, as life would have it, when I returned to Alaska, I was swept back into my old life, and I even married. I had a stable job at one of the mines north of Anchorage, and as an engineer, put my days of being a starving prospector behind me. Arthur went back into the mountains that spring and found some nice gold far south of El Dorado Mountain, forgetting about our cache, which would become one of the richest mines in British Columbia, so he didn't need our small, tiny gold find. So he has not had the need to go back and face Hunter Jack again, and as you know, he is very much in control of the El Dorado Mountain area. It's my hope that the gold's still there. My last hope, William says. I'm aching to get my hands on some real wealth after the mines closed down in Alaska and my wife and I split up. She took everything, left me with nothing. Nothing but broken dreams and fake hopes. All I have left is the old promise that Arthur and all made 20 years ago. I just hope he's not cleaned out the cache. Johnny could feel his heart racing in his chest as he listened to William Jackson's tale under the faint candlelight that filled the cabin. So will you help me, Johnny chants? William asks. Of course I'm in, Johnny answers without hesitation. Last thing I want to do is go back to the Cayuse Creek nightmare, or even the Fraser. Overrated if you ask me. I'd rather pull mine gold out of a cache than spend all the time having to placer mine an area myself. It's much too much like work for me. Well, we have to send Clarence's family in Alaska some of the gold, as it's their great hope that he would strike it. It's going to break his poor wife's heart when she hears of his death. We have to bring her some decent news. Johnny reaches for his whiskey and takes a swig, holding the old bottle up in the lantern light and making a toast. May the poor at last have a chance to walk in the sun, he says, lifting the whiskey bottle in the hope of his future enterprise with his new friend, William Jackson.